AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
I set out on a narrow way many years ago, hoping I would find true love along the broken road. But I got lost a time or two, wiped my brow and kept pushing through. I couldn't see how every sign pointed straight to you. Every long, long stream led me to where you are. Others who broke my heart, they were like northern stars, pointing me on.
Robin, this guy singing is so good, huh? Where are you?
Fabulous.
Oh, there you are. Sorry.
Yeah, I love this guy. He's so talented.
What if we could ever get him in the studio?
Probably not. His agent, I hear, is really difficult to get a hold of. His appearance fees are out the roof. I mean, just it's unreal.
For those who don't know, that music is Kevin Christian. Just let's listen a little bit more. Here he is.
Think about the years I spent just passing through. I'd like to have the time I lost and give it back to you. But you just smile and take my hand. You've been there, you understand. It's all part of a grander plan that is coming true.
How come you weren't on The Voice? We need to get you on a show like that.
It wasn't around. I mean, you know, growing up, there weren't those kind of shows. The whole reality show genre, if you will, really didn't come around until mid-'90s. Real World on MTV was the first one.
So did you know that we play your Christmas music every Christmas on the air?
You tell me that, and I'm always humbled and honored that you say that.
You're wonderful.
I think we have
really
two
do.
of your Christmas albums. How many have you recorded?
Well, I only have one Christmas album, but I have 5 projects recorded.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I have 2 CDs. The other one's not Christmas? Okay.
The song that you just played comes from an all-vocal album.
When was that one released?
Oh, the last project I did was 10 years ago.
Is that right? Wow.
So it's older than that.
Are you not doing it anymore?
I just have to make time. You know, as a musician, it takes time to come up with your arrangements. Actually, the hardest part is choosing the songs and then arranging the songs, getting them recorded, and then I like to be in charge of that whole creative process. Just like the lady we just interviewed, she likes to own her own music. I kind of do the same thing. But then when it's all recorded and mastered and all that, then I like the creative process of packaging it and giving the look to the project. So I'm involved in it at every step. I'm controlling it at every step.
Yeah, well, you're so good.
I don't have a label, so I have to do it myself.
Now, in our community, we know you as Kevin Christian from the Marion County Public Schools,
Correct,
right?
yes.
It's almost like a secret identity, except for the people in your church, right?
Correct.
Because that's where you are always performing, right?
I always share my music at church, yes. I hesitate to use the word perform because in the church world that has a very negative connotation to it.
Really?
Yeah, because it's about ministry in the church world. And so performing, I mean, I don't mean that negatively. I shouldn't say it
Are
like
you
that.
the church, what do you call
I'm the music pastor.
The music pastor. So
Wings of Faith.
Wings of Faith Fellowship. So I lead worship segments in our church each Sunday for the Sunday services and Wednesday service. I lead a small vocal team there. I direct the band, the orchestra. I'm in charge of the choir rehearsal. Last night we just debuted. We had Christmas in July, so we listened to our Christmas musical for the first time.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
neat.
been doing that I've been part of church music all of my life. But actively since 1990.
So tell us a little bit about you. Where did you grow up?
I was born in Columbus, Ohio, and lived there until I was 8. And then my parents were from West Virginia, so we moved back to West Virginia. I grew up in the Hatfield-McCoy location.
Really?
Where that story happened, I grew up there. It's Mate One, West Virginia.
Did it have an influence on you in any way?
Absolutely, in positive ways, yes.
Oh, okay.
The town where my high school was located was called Mate One, and there's actually a movie out called Mate One. It's about the Mate One massacre. It was a shootout that took place between federal agents and some bad guys. The town still stands, and there's still bullet holes in the back of the walls. I mean, it's really lots of
Very
culture and
historical.
history like that. But grew up in West Virginia, went to college at Lee University in Tennessee, and then moved to Ocala to become the administrative assistant right here at the mall. That was for about a
wow.
year.
So
Yeah.
this was your reason for being in Ocala?
This was my reason was to live with my grandparents and attend the university just up the road here. But they didn't accept me, so I stepped back for a moment and
Did you ever
accepted
eat
job
in the
here.
Piccadilly cafeteria?
Yes.
Well, then you're right
Yes.
back where you started.
And I remember the drugstore that used to be right where the food court
Walgreens,
is.
right?
Yes.
Was it Walgreens?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember when we opened Sears.
Oh,
I was
really?
here then, yes.
Was that building not there?
That building was not there.
I didn't
That
know
was
that.
built onto the Paddock Mall.
I didn't really know that. Okay.
Yeah. It was a whole new concourse.
So we jumped ahead. I want to go back to you. So how did you go from having a God-given gift of music? What did you study in college? Let me go.
Communications, journalism, really.
Okay. So the music somehow took you to wanting to do something in the media. Am I right about that?
I never wanted to make a living at music because I knew too many people growing up, friends who were in bands and groups and other areas, who went to college, got their degree in music, and then didn't do anything with it.
Okay.
So I enjoyed music too much to get to that point where I couldn't make a living with it, and so I did something else. So I really consciously made that choice not to use music as my primary source of income.
How many octaves can you sing?
I don't know. I can probably do.
You have a really
nothing
beautiful voice. I don't know if you
thank
mind
you.
me saying that, but I mean,
I
you really
appreciate
have a
it.
nice
Well,
sounding
coming from
voice.
a fellow musician, I appreciate that.
Yeah, but I don't think I need to be. I think we all have a sense of what we like to listen to. And
Yeah.
There's something about your sound. I would listen to you at night also. Driving in the
Do
car.
I put you to sleep?
No, I don't want to go to sleep. So you went to journalism, and you worked for Channel 20 for a while?
I did. I was there for 5 years and still played the whole time. It was still music pastor at my church the whole time.
Were you on camera? I
Oh,
can't.
yes, sir. I was the Marion County, the bureau chief, so I was reporting from Marion County for 4 years.
Okay.
And then the last year and a half of my job, I co-anchored the 5:30 show with Paige Beck.
And you earned two
Wow.
first place Associated Press awards.
I did.
too.
I was very honored. Associated Press is a very recognized name. We read some of their stories earlier today and was honored with those awards for my work with the station. So,
Wow. Well, I think you should get an award for what you did today.
what's that? Coming in and being with you guys.
Put up with us. Put up with us.
It's fun. I told your colleague here a few minutes ago. I had a radio career early in my life. It lasted one day.
Where? Tell me about that. Where was it?
It was in Mate One, West Virginia. Actually, it was in right across the river.
How does
which I wanna
something
say
last
is
one day?
Freeburg, Kentucky. Well, I'm about to tell you. That was back in the day before computers were around, and it was back in the day when you had to shut down the station every night. I don't know if you were in radio then, but
Oh yeah, we worked at
we were.
You remember all that.
WTMC.
So
WOC.
I was there, and I think I must have been 16 because I drove there and parked and went in and met the person, and they gave me the 20-minute tour, and then he said, "Okay, so at this such and such a time, you do this, blah 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 blah. Okay, all right, good luck, and I'm out of here." And left me alone at the station. So here I am, supposed to be on the air, and 16 years old with an old-fashioned board. And a station that had to be shut down.
Oh, no.
I was like, I'm not coming back. One day. So that was my radio career. One day.
Oh my gosh! But that was how much time passed between that job and your next media job?
Well, that would have been in high school. So my first media job was in Miami, actually.
Really?
Working for 2 television stations there. Yeah.
And that was
behind
before-
the scenes. That was behind the scenes.
That was before Ocala?
That was that was after Ocala.
Oh, okay.
I came to Ocala and became the administrative assistant, really the marketing director for the mall. this mall. So that lasted for almost a year, and I moved to Orlando. I received a job offer to work at a mega church, and I was the number 2 person there. So
Hey, did you hear
Oh,
the
my.
story about Claude? You know who Claude
I do
Bowers
know.
is?
Mhm.
Did you hear the story that he owned the frequency for his super channel?
Yes.
And the FCC needed it like earlier this year for their 5G cell phone service.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me because the FCC regulates all of the air frequencies in our
Right.
country. So they have actually not only probably purchased that frequency back from Claude Bowers, but they've also regulated the frequencies that impact wireless microphones. So there are some churches that have to get rid of their microphones in certain frequencies
Oh, I
because
didn't know
Really?
that. I didn't.
they're
know
against
that.
the law now.
But
Yeah.
but the rest
my
of his story, I don't know if you heard this. This was like this week, right? The FCC paid him $20 million for that frequency.
Okay.
Gave him a new frequency so he could continue doing
Sure.
his work.
Sure.
And that $20 million helps him finish that big building that he's been working on for 17
is it
years.
the Freedom Building, I think they call it.
Majesty
Yeah.
Building.
Majesty.
Well, the Majesty Building. Yeah. Well, I just saw a news report yesterday that there are lights on in that building, so that would explain.
Wow.
Isn't that's a God thing?
What else can it be?
When you have a frequency that the FCC will pay $20 million for,
And kudos to him for having the insight, the foresight to buy that frequency early on,
Yeah.
to hold on to it,
Yeah.
and to trust God enough that in God's timing it would
that is
happen.
amazing. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I saw the interview with him. We did an interview with him years ago.
Yeah, I when I lived in Orlando, I was on their show on a pretty regular basis. He and Frida, and then of course their daughter Angela had her show as well, and I was on there 3-4 times
You
a
know,
year.
I was actually on there one time too.
Yeah.
Angela's guest.
Yeah,
So I think I did a song with my guitar.
doing your guitar. Yeah,
You also played at the different areas of Disney World.
I did. When I lived in Orlando, I obviously played at the church, but I played on the side as well. I did lots of dinner parties and restaurant background music, that kind of thing.
Where did you play? In the theme park or one of the hotels?
I played in some of the hotels. I played at the Wedding Pavilion. And then my main area was behind the scenes. I played for a lot of corporate events. So those were in areas that the public doesn't have access to, but they're in
really?
the parks. In Epcot, for example, when you go into Great Britain and that part of the park,
Right,
well,
right.
those buildings look wonderful from the outside, and they're beautiful facades and great representations of that architecture. But on the inside, there are corporate dining rooms
Oh my!
that
wow.
would have pianos in them, and
I never knew that.
would seat
Wow.
100 people or whatever. Yeah, so those were kind of my specialty areas. And as a pianist, I can go in. I don't have to carry anything. I have an instrument.
Right,
the piano's
right,
there,
right.
so you walk in and sit down, and it was a 2 or 3 hour minimum. So I was there for at least 2 or 3 hours. It was
So
great.
did-
I loved it. It
So
was a lot of fun.
Did anything along the way feel like this is it? This is where I'm going to be for the next 30 years?
No,
No.
no.
But now you're doing what you're doing now, and you've been at this job now for a long time.
17 years.
So is this kind of unusual, or you're not getting antsy, are you?
I'm not getting antsy, and I don't have plans to go anywhere.
And I think you bring to the schools something that nobody else could have brought what you brought. Your sense, everything you've just told us about your background explains why you are so good at what you do. The journalism and also your insight into the Student Media Festival. I mean, that clearly has somebody with showbiz know-how running it, and that's you.
Well, for example, with a television show or with a video show or whatever you want to call it, you have to have a script. Well, script writing is a talent. It's not. Most people could not sit down and write a script
Yeah.
because it's a mindset.
Yeah, you write what we say.
It's a mindset.
So anything I ever said on that program that is like kind of off color, Kevin wrote it.
Well, yeah, I'll take credit for the good stuff, and my good friend Chris Miller, I'll blame him for the bad jokes.
Okay, good.
But music. A lot of people are very surprised when they learn that I play the piano and that I'm a music pastor. I always tell people I work for the school system for a career. It certainly pays the bills, and I'm very grateful for that, and I thoroughly enjoy what I do there.
Right.
Passion is my music. Yeah,
I know
it's
it
just
is. Yeah.
music touches people in ways that we can't explain, that we can't have words for sometimes. Songs can take you to a moment in your life that is wonderful where you celebrate, and songs can take you to the saddest point that you've ever been, and everything in between. And to be able to share that and help people experience those kinds of emotions and those kinds of journeys, it's thoroughly enjoyable.
I'm going to share notes with you and see if you agree, disagree, have a thought on this.
Music notes or?
All right, so I used to play colleges, and
Okay.
a lot of times the gigs I played were multi-act gigs. So
Okay.
there was more than one act on the
Sure.
stage. Sometimes those acts were magicians. And
Okay.
so I would be ready to go on because I'm coming up next or next to or whatever, and I'm watching a magician from the side, and I can see the girl come out of the box. And I think, oh, that's how it's done. Oh, okay. So I'm thinking to myself,
You
here's
just spilled the beans.
so here's my thought, my question to you as a musician. Okay, I thought to myself at that moment that when Elton John was the guy I liked in those years. So I thought when Elton John does his music, I think the magic, in quotes, of that music is still a mystery even to himself. Because when you do a good song, there's a magic to it that you don't really know the trick. It's just there.
It's a connection. People have to connect to your music to like it, to truly
What about
embrace
you,
it.
the performer? I know you don't like to use that word in church, but when you're what do you call somebody that instead of perform?
You can say perform. That's fine.
So when you're the one, you're the fingers on the keyboard.
Yes.
You're the voice
Yes.
singing the song.
Yes.
Do you have to feel it?
Well, you either feel it or you fake it. That's a horrible thing to say, but that's the reality of
Well,
it. I mean,
and-
you've been on stage before where, I mean, you're playing and you're performing and your mind is elsewhere.
There's times when it comes,
it
comes
happens.
and goes. Comes
you know.
and goes.
But I think the most meaningful moments are those times when you are so embraced in the music that you're sharing that you get caught up in that music. And you know what those moments are.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean.
It's a
I
magical
don't think a
moment.
magician is ever fooled by his trick.
No.
But I think a musician is
that's-
moved by the music.
Well, that's just it. It's a magical trick. So there's a gimmick to it.
But
for lack of a
I
better word.
think the audience a lot of times looks at a musician, and especially if they're not musicians, and they think, "Gosh, I wonder how he does that.
Yeah.
I wonder what the trick is." You know, that kind of a thought without using the word trick.
Yeah.
You know, but we don't know. We don't know if it's a good song. It's a good song.
It's a good song. Again, people have to connect with it.
Name a perfect song. Do you have a song you can name that you think is the perfect song?
I think The Prayer is a perfect song.
How's that go?
The Lord's
by
Prayer.
by Josh Groban, Celine Dion. That, I pray you'll be all right. Dun, da, da,
Okay.
na, na, na.
Oh, that is
that
a
one
good
song.
song. Yeah.
It's just it rolls off your tongue when you sing the lyric. The music is just beautiful in how it's arranged and the chord structures. It has big parts, where you swell and you get louder, and then it has softer, more tender moments. It encapsulates all of the emotion that a song can show, I think.
What's wonderful about what you do is that you do perform live, and we hear what you sound like playing the piano and singing live as you are in the recording studio. And one of the things I don't like is people say, "Oh, okay, you recorded that at the studio, so you must push a button and that's how you sound."
Yeah, I am not an overly produced artist. When I record my piano projects, they're recorded live. And several of them are nonstop, meaning there's no breaks between the songs. So when I sit down for that, when I start playing, and 55 minutes later I stop playing. That's how it is in the
Wow.
studio.
Wow.
It's a continuous medley, if you will.
That's amazing.
Now, I index each of the songs individually so that if you want to listen to track number 7, you can dial that up. But there's just a nuance in being able to transition from one song to the next that takes the listener from this point in that musical journey to the next point. And there are bright, happy moments, and there are sad, lonely moments, and everything in between. I like that challenge. I like to do that. And not many artists A, are willing to take that kind of a risk,
Really?
and B, have the talent to do
do
that,
that.
because it's not easy to sit there and play for 55 minutes without making a
So
mistake.
that would be a piano-only album, or would you overdub vocals on it later on? Or
I'd probably do just piano for that.
Okay.
Yeah. The piano projects that I have, that's how they've been recorded.
that is amazing, Kevin.
So-
the song we just heard, is that you singing in the background with
It is
yourself?
not. No,
Okay.
that's a leased track, unfortunately. But, God's not given me the ability to write my own music. I've tried.
so you're-
I've tried, but it's just not my thing. That's not my gifting. I think my gifting is to be able to take the music that he gives someone else and interpret it my way.
You do a
So
wonderful job
who
at
influenced you? Who were your musical influences?
Well, obviously God first and foremost, but David Foster, if you know who David Foster is. Most
Yeah.
people...
We had him on the air, actually.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
He's been around since the 70s, but he's producing. Well, back in
trying
the
to remember why
70s
he
he
was
was
on
playing.
there.
I'm going to tell you. I probably know why he was on your air, because he has discovered the likes of Chicago, Celine Dion, Josh Groban. I mean, he produced Whitney. The man's
He was a-
musical talent
he
is
was a
amazing.
big deal.
Amazing pianist. He has a project called the Symphony Sessions. That is my all-time favorite CD. It's just he did a lot of soundtracks, and some of those songs are on that. You would be surprised. St. Elmo's Fire
Wow.
did the
he
music
did
for that. There's a song from a Michael J. Fox movie called Water Fountain. If I played it for you, you would recognize
So
it.
he was your influence.
For piano, yeah, it was just
What
his
about
style.
who's that guy we like from the Forrest Gump soundtrack?
Oh, Alan Silvestri.
Oh yeah, he's Mr. Disney. I mean, he does, and I always think of him for Christmas because he does great Christmas arrangements too, of music. But piano would have to be David Foster. Vocally, gosh, I don't really know. You know what attracts my ear is family harmony.
What does that mean?
Meaning siblings who have grown up together,
Oh, okay.
singing together. You can't
Like the
duplicate.
Osmonds?
Yeah, you can't duplicate that kind of
Oh, that's
harmony.
interesting. Yeah.
There are several groups in the Christian world. The Isaacs are one of them. The Collingsworth family, where they can just look at each other and know they're going to do this riff up or this riff down or this little lick right here, or they're going to hold the note so long and then they're going to get soft and then they're going to, they just know it. It's instinct to them. It's intuitive. And that just attracts my ear. And so I think that plays over into some of the music that I choose. I just downloaded the other day an old Lionel Richie project. I say old, it's 4 or 5 years now, the Tuskegee Project. But he took many of his hits from the 80s and 70s, 80s, and 90s and redid them in a different format with country artists.
Oh.
And I love when that happens and it's good, because it forces your ear to hear that music in a different perspective than you probably could imagine on your own. So Yep.
Is there another one that you want to recommend, or is that the best one to go to?
gosh, it's been so long since I've looked at that project. The Colors of Love is the latest project. I call it the White Album. It's where I'm in white on the front, and
this one.
those are all love songs on that album, and that album is recorded song by song. So it is individual.
And this one
songs.
I do have. I think I have this in the
Yeah, we do.
in the other studio.
Yeah, we have that one.
I believe so. Here's a piece from it right here. That's beautiful.
Oh, that's REO Speedwagon. You played this the other day, I think.
Oh,
I
did
Can't
I?
Fight This Feeling.
Oh, are you singing on it?
No, it's just piano. In E flat.
That's right.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Any plans to do any live concerts soon? Hey, where'd it go? Oh, these are only partial songs?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
You don't ever want to put your whole song on the internet. Believe me. Somebody will take it and make money from it. I don't have any live schedule or live concerts scheduled right now. Of course, Wings of Faith, we do 2 Sunday morning services each week. We have a Wednesday evening service. And of course, I mentioned choir rehearsal on Thursdays. The school job really is a full-time job that extends far beyond the typical 8 to 10 hour workday. So
bet, yeah.
that keeps me busy a lot. But I really do want to get back in the studio. But I'm very picky on the keyboard that I want to use. There aren't a lot of places around here where you can find a 9-foot concert grand.
I bet not.
That's not what you're listening to. Was not on a 9-foot concert grand, but there are a few places in town. My first project ever. A shout out to First Baptist of Ocala because they have a 9-foot concert Baldwin grand, and I went in there on Labor Day one year and recorded my first project there.
Wow.
So,
And you have a website.
Oh, I love this song.
KevinChristian.net. You know what that is?
Nadia's theme.
Yeah, from.
I'm reading it. wait, it's that girl on the balance beam or something.
It was written for her, but it's also a theme song.
A soap opera.
Yes.
What was the soap opera?
It's still on.
Young and the Restless.
Young
or
and the
something?
Restless. Yeah.
How about that?
Wow. Boy,
I can't
you're
tell you how
good.
many talent shows I won playing this song as a kid. Because
right?
nobody else played it.
It's a beautiful
But it's a
song.
great song for piano.
You have a great touch. I love the way you play.
Well, I like to think that I.
Come on, can you make them a little bit longer?
That I express. The whole thing about music is expressing it. I tell people all the time it takes two kinds of people for music to happen: those who create it and those who enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because as an artist, if I can't share my music with somebody, that part of it's missing.
Yeah. Well, this part of you has been missing. We've known this about you, but we've never talked to you about it. So thank you for sharing that. You're going to stick
Thank you.
with us for we got one more stretch to go.
Absolutely, I'm here.
It's called Midday with Joe.
Okay.
It's coming right up. Thank you, Kevin. That was
Thank
fun.
you.
We've had a fun morning with
Absolutely.
you. We're not done yet.
My pleasure.
But having you as a guest was outstanding. We'll be right back. Go to Kevin's website and so KevinChristian.net, correct?
That's it. Yep.
And go to his church. You can hear him in person.
Wings of Faith Fellowship.
Wings of Faith. We'll be right back.
Tired of looking at stained carpets, dirty tile, or grout? Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. Make your flooring look great again. Stains, pet odors, allergies. Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. From serving our country to serving our community. Silverback Restoration, 414